forgot to turn the recording back on. Luckily, I only skipped a couple minutes, so I think all I did was kill that one person. It happened when I took that break. Might have been a few minutes ago, but I really didn't do anything. Ouch. Army or the dead? Well, yes. It is on Twitch because I was streaming it. If those 3 minutes, or if that one little action really, if I was anal enough, or whatever other words there are, you know, OCD enough, I could go download it and splice it in. Yeah. But I don't like to rely on Twitch because my internet provider is like potato out here. I'm surprised it didn't cut out. Often between 10 and 11 o'clock, it cuts out. I don't know if that's because the West Coast is getting busy, or if somebody's doing a nightly dump, you know, one of the Navy boat yards, or somewhere in Manhattan, some banking institute is sucking up most of the internet broadband, and I get throttled out. I don't understand, but I get a lot of buffering, and it cuts out a lot. I stopped streaming for a while because you lose all your viewers. If Twitch, you say, you know, if I got 10 people watching and then my internet cuts out for a minute or two or 5, when I come back, I got one viewer. They're all gone. And they don't come back. At least not for hours or that night. It was discouraging. So I record my stuff and then I put it on YouTube. A couple days ago I did a 10-hour stream and had a lot of internet interruptions. If you look at it on Twitch, you'll see a 3-hour clip, 22-second clip, an 18-second clip, a 2-minute clip, and a 6-hour clip. So there's big chunks that kept getting cut out. But my YouTube video, it's all there in one 10-hour stretch, 10 1-hour tapes, thereabouts. This will get something out of my inventory. Let's go down to the bottom. I like to start at the bottom. First in, first out, that kind of thing. Okay. This one. Wow. Okay. Let's see, we got to go north. North. There you go. Watch how much stamina this horse has. Oh. one, so I can't really show you. That's a troll? If I had a nice open road, I could have shown you how long this horse can sprint without stopping. We had Facebook move in. Well, when they moved in, then a lot of shacking and moving started happening. Huh. Yikes! Oh, that's steep. Well, slow down. Skyrim horse physics to the rescue. Oops. Oops. That's how you die. You can kill your horse, in case you didn't know. I've seen it. I've probably done it, I don't know. But if you go slow enough, my ears just went out. Need to figure that out. Uh-oh. Sometimes I get a bubble in my ear. And it's like partial deafening. And I think it's congestion. It's like a liquid. Your ears can get congested with fluid. Rebooting, Bluetooth updated. Oh. Huh? I must be near where I need to be. I see my quest marker. There we go. Dismount horse before going through door. Okay. Can I pick some flowers first? How about these? Okay. Hey, you changed your clothes. Oh, did I forget to lock? We'll deal with you later. Oh, I'm overloaded again? Again? Wow, yes I am. Oh yeah. I picked up a lot of crap from all those zombies. I'm gonna pick up a lot of crap in here too. A lot of dead bandits. Oh, Namira's itch. Oh, that was a go-to for me. I like that weapon. I think it damages stamina really good. And in this game, power attacks are like the main course. I personally, I saw somebody do the math on it, and you know, it's a whole DPS versus stamina drain equation, and it's kind of like not worth doing. It made sense to me. I don't know if I could repeat the math, but you know, if you could think your way through it, how fast do you get to attack? How much damage do you do each time? How quickly are you draining your stamina and doing less damage versus if you just keep doing normal attacks? That's the That's the math in words, not in numbers. I know there's another term for that in vocabulary, in programming vocabulary. I just can't remember it right now. That's that's the logic. Something like that. Ooh, Black Soul Gem. There's a couple real cool things I can make, but they take a Black Soul Gem. Okay, let's go kill the leader of something knife lookout. I don't know how long it's been. Let's do a... Gotta be careful with quick saves. They're nice, but 5 hours of quick saves. Who wants to lose 5 hours? I got myself in a death loop the other day. I couldn't get out of it. Couldn't get out of it. No, he's not here. He's down there. And I learned a valuable lesson. I was having a hard time with a group of enemies. And there was too many of them. I was doing pyrite. That quest that you do for pyrite. You gotta go kill his minion because his minion has double-crossed him, and they got all that green goop and they vomit all that green stuff on you. And I was running away from them, and I came to a door, and I thought, well, if I run through the door, they probably won't follow me, but they might. And they did. And when I came out the other side of the door,
I've never seen anything quite like that.
they were able to act before I was. I had a very long stutter. They were able to start to act almost instantaneously. I couldn't even get my character to stand up for like 3 seconds, and I already been hit 3 times. And there was 4 of them. And so they kept killing me. Back, sorry about that. Drivers had to update. Bam, they did. My phone's like that because I don't even turn it on. I keep it in my vehicle. And when I need it, like to double authenticate or something like that, I'll go get it out of the truck and I'll bring it in the house. Or if I want to make a phone call, I turn it on. But your audio is Bluetooth. Oh, through your phone. And so every time I turn my phone on, it just updates and updates and updates. So you can hear it, bing, 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 bing. You can hear everything's updating, everything's updating, everything's updating. Oh, I bet there's some fish in here. Not the fish I'm looking for right now, though. Some people who speak softly have an audio booster. I tend to speak a little. I tend to speak soft. I can get into a mumble if I'm not careful. Yeah, I do have my stuff on manual. Or I have to okay it. Yeah, me too. Then I forget when I told it to update. I don't like updates. I dislike updates with a passion. I actually installed it for another guy I watch on here. He whispers for his wife is sleeping. Well, what I do, I set my game at the same level as my voice. So somebody on their end, if they can't hear me, they can turn it up and the game won't be too loud because it's set at the same level as my voice. And I can look at the monitor. My voice is a little higher because I know I can trail off. Yeah, I don't know what it is, you know. Well, thanks for calling it smart, but you know, yeah, I don't want to diss anybody that doesn't do it because I think, you know, I'm not smart. I think, you know, a lot of other people are being dumb about it. Don't mean to get too truthy for anyone that's guilty about it, but yeah, there's the fishing stuff. Let's fish. There's streams that I can't watch because I can't hear the game. If I turn it up so I can hear the game, the streamer sounds like he's screaming loud. And at first, I would say something. I'd say, "Hey, do you think you can turn the game volume up a couple notches?" Or instead of asking the guy to quiet himself down, I figured I'd ask him to turn the game up. Oh, no one else is complaining. I'm like, whoa, complaining? Where'd that word come from? And after that happening several times, yeah, I thought I was wording it very careful because you've got to be careful in chat what words you type because they can't hear your tone of voice. They don't hear the candor, the tenor of your voice, the timbre. They can't see the expressions on your face. All they can do is read a string of words and usually misinterpret the meaning. So as careful as I was, it wasn't working, and I just gave up. And the same thing with my wife. There's a stream I love to watch, but the sound balance is horrendous. The guy gets into a belly laugh, and boy, does he bellow. And my wife just complains about who's all doing all that loud laughing. It's like, she's about 75 feet down the hall, around the corner, across the room, around a corner. There's several walls between us, and I can hear it when I go out there. She's out there trying to watch TV. She's complaining about it. It's like, oh, it's too loud. And when I try to watch it, normally I watch when I go to bed. I'll turn on these streamers, and they're West Coast, so they're up late at night compared to me. And I'll be watching the game, and I'll snooze off, and all of a sudden, oh, they scream me out of sleep. I know one of the guys well, and we talk. And I said, hey, do you think you can get the guy to balance the sound out? Yeah, I've talked to him about it. But it didn't happen. Ha ha ha, and through the woods she goes. Yeah, there's a lot that go into it. You know, how did you change the game? How close is the mic to you? What program are you using it with? It all can change. Every time I stream, before I stream, I make a recording. Instead of streaming, I just hit the recording button on OBS, and I play the game for 30 seconds while I talk. And then I play back the recording. Sometimes it's not working at all. I have to reboot the computer because it didn't sense the mic. I'd be streaming without a mic. That's happened. I check the balance. And then when it's okay, and then I stream. I find so many streamers, I don't know if they do it on purpose, if they think the game is secondary. And the primary reason is for people to listen to their personality, make jokes, I don't know. I try to concentrate on the game, but when I've got someone who wants to chat a lot, I'm Mr. Chatty. I can talk all night. The game sometimes will take a back seat. Something just happened. My game froze. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh. My rumble pack is rumbling. Ooh, that was a huge lag. That was a huge lag. CPU use 7%. I'm not seeing drop frames. Bit rate's been stable. Well, and just a little glitchy thing here. I don't know. It kicked me out of fishing though. As I told someone the other day, I thought this place was a chat room with a video on the person. I get like that. I start to forget about the game, and I start to talk too much. And every once in a while someone will say, play the game. Like, oh yeah. But if you stream, you'll learn. People don't like their chats being ignored. They want to hear you read it or respond to it. And when you start to get a couple people, it's like they don't seem to realize that you're having 4 conversations at once. It gets to be quite a juggling act. I wondered about that. Must be hard without another monitor. What a lot of streamers do is they watch their chat on their cell phone. I've got 3 monitors, so I've got the chat right next to my game. So I try to watch the game, but if I can see a little blip, so I know somebody just said something. But I always look over there to see. I can see that thing without my glasses on. Oh, well, there's a way to blow your chat up. You can pop it out, you can move it around like a window and place it anywhere you want, and I think it's tab control or control alt. You can make the text size go from 100% to 200% or something like that. I've got mine blown up so I can see it. Somebody had to teach me how to do it. They could see me leaning in and squinting, trying to on their phone, and they say so. That's how I know. Sometimes you can tell because they look over and they're pointing down with their hand. You can tell they're reading it. Some people stream with a desktop. There's all kinds of ways people are doing it. Yeah, talk about ridiculously small. Oh my God. I got a 46-inch TV that I'm playing the game on. My face is 5 feet away from it. To the right of that, I got a 42-inch monitor. It's got my chat and what you're seeing. I'm watching my stream on Twitch, so I can tell if someone says, "Hey, I lost you," or "Hey, you're fuzzy," or "Hey, your stream sucks." I'm like, "No, I'm watching it. It's not me. It's on your end. It's your internet provider. It's your computer. Whatever." Oh my God, you're on a 42 now? Well, and then there's another monitor over there that's a 27, and that's OBS. That's where I can see my sound leveling, and I can see what OBS is sending out to Twitch. So if I look like crap on Twitch, I can look over at OBS and see where the problem is. In this room we have two 42s, two 32-ishes, and two 24s. These GPUs are kind of long in the tooth now. Back in the day, they were close to top of the line. NVIDIA TI 980 classifieds. I think they went up to 1080 at the time. But each one supports 2 monitors and a TV. So they each have a HDMI port and 2 I forget what the other port is, a DP something or other, I forget. So I can support 6 screens. I'm running dual GPUs though. And if I had them, I'd set them up just because I could. Oh, well, that helps. Well, you know, my eyes are old. I'm not old, but my eyes are. And I like having big screens. How these people watch YouTube on a phone. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. Why would I want to watch YouTube on my phone? Why would I want to watch a movie on my phone? I suppose I should look at the water and see if there's any more fish here. Or am I just catching junk? Graphic cards. Sorry. The graphic drivers, then you have the motherboard. Oh, I forget what the motherboard is. But I spent a lot of money on the hardware for this 7 years ago. And then my nephew built it. I think I uninstalled a mod for water panes in my FO4. You think you did, but you're not sure. What do you use for a mod manager? Do you use Nexus? I switched to Vortex. There's others. I can't find them anywhere. I use Vortex, and the mod will be in my list, but it'll say disabled. Oh, uninstalled. That's another bird of another feather. I forgot to look. Any more fish? No more fish. I could stop catching. I see you, fish. But no water splashing, so no fish. Okay. Let's go kill something. Let's go kill the leader of this place. I thought this was good. Mod organizer too. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. But so it may or may not tell you what mods you have, what's enabled, what's disabled, what's been uninstalled, and mine even tells me what mods I have installed in the past. Oh yeah, says all that. Not as auto is what you have. I don't know how to compare it. It's the one I learned when my nephew set up this computer. He used Nexus, and he set up some mods for me on Fallout 4. I didn't know crap about mods. And then I decided to install a couple mods. I struggled through it. You got rid of Vortex. My son still uses it. I pay for it. Yeah, you know, I hear good and bad about everything. I just figure Vortex will fix its bugs. I got used to it. I'm used to it. I know how to use it. It helps me mod my games. It helps me a lot with deciding what the load order should be, where the conflicts are. You still got to know what you're doing, but it makes a lot of it dummy proof. so you know of loot. I've heard of it, and FO4 edit, and all those good things to care for your mods. Then I I've been exposed to the words, but I don't know what they are. I don't know if FO4 edit is like FO4 is notorious for dirty oh, is it? I was running hundreds of mods. Well, a couple hundred. I don't know. 2, 3. I'm not. Well, I had that many mods, but I got it down to about 100. Where are you? Hey. Where'd he go? That is what makes you crash? Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. That was weird. But I got pretty good with doing the script extenders. You can't just download those and auto load those. You got to manually download them, unzip them, and you know the deal. So that's where you separate the men from the boys, if I can use that expression, when it comes to modding. If you can find the folder and you can put those files in the folder where they belong and replace the files with the new files, that's graduation day right there.
I've got a bad feeling about
Oh
this.
yeah, I am modding my Vegas now. Well, cleaning the mods. Not real fun. Oh jeez, this room. There's a couple more people in that room. Have you ever played with the mods that do animations? Like you can point at a character and make them dance, or it'll change the way you stand when you sneak, or the way you move when you fight off of a horse. That was what I found to be the most difficult. I had to move my Steam file to another drive. For some reason, AAF is a real good mod, by the way. AAF? I don't know that mod. Is it for Fallout 4? And what is it? I'll write down AAF. See what I can find out about it. Something about, I forget was it a certain kind of you couldn't put it on C drive. And that's when I had to use dual tabs to figure out how to move the Steam directory and then move. I can't even remember. It was too complicated for me to even remember what the hell I did. I had to walk my. I think Skyrim has it too. Advanced and okay, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, advanced animation, and it had a lot of contingency mods. What am I trying to think of? Prerequisites. It can be a pain in the. Yes, it was. And I think that was the next step. After you can do a script extender, if you can get yourself through that AAF stuff, and I did that with Skyrim my last playthrough, and man was I loving it. But that's when the shit hit the fan. Had a Windows update, and I got the blue screen of death. My computer wouldn't boot anymore. I was trying to restore it. I couldn't get it going. Just at the same time, my C drive was filling up. I hear Skyrim is highly modded, supremely. I think it's probably the #1 most moddable game, or the most modded game. Either that or Fallout 4, I forget. I thought Skyrim was the most modded game. I read something about it. I could be getting them reversed though. It came first before FO4 to my understanding. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. But I might just not have known it was out already. I started with FO4 and then I went to Skyrim, but it might have been out for a while. You're probably right. You know, it's funny how I've noticed how I perceive things. Like, oh, such and such didn't exist until a certain time. It's like, no, that's just when I was first became aware of it. It was going on considerably longer than I ever knew of. That's probably the case here. Well, Skyrim's just turned, what, 10 years old? Right? The anniversary edition, 10-year anniversary. You're Mrs. Skyrim? I don't even know what Mrs. Skyrim is. Yeah, right. Oh, you're Mr. My Mister's. Oh, your Mister's Skyrim. Now I get it. Your husband's Skyrim. I'm running so many mods that have to do with clothing and looks that some of them conflict. Like, how many mods are all trying to tell you what hairstyle you should have? And so, of course, you got to pick the load order, and the last one you pick will eventually be the one that gets used. Its coding will take precedence, from the way I understand it. But have you ever had all the faces turn black from the neck up? I had that happen this time through. And it wasn't load order related. It's just the fact that that mod existed, even though it was being overridden by another mod, it still put a conflict and turned all the faces black. And just after a little bit of common sense and just poking around, deleting or disabling mods that had to do with hair and face and makeup. Sometimes they used the same forms. Yeah. I finally found there was a hair mod that when I disabled it, the problem went away. Like, there you go. Vortex lets you sort your mods by various categories: weapons, clothing, environmental, stuff like that. And so I was able to look at a small grouping of mods and think, well, it's one of these mods. Geez, I'm overweighted already. I hardly picked anything up. Back in the day, when I got overweighted, I would just dungeon crawl. Or I'd find a good intersection in a hallway, drop all my stuff in a pile, then continue on until I got overloaded, drop all my stuff in a pile. Then when I got to the far back of the dungeon, I would turn around and on the way out, pick everything up, drop it in a pile out near the fast travel point where my horse was parked. After I got a horse. Before I got a horse, I would fast travel home with as much as I could carry, come back, pick up as much as I could carry, go back, pick as much as I can. So that's how I managed weight. Oh my God, my mister was playing Vegas. He could not figure out why he was moving so slow. He got cucumbered. Well, you know, a couple days ago, when I was streaming this game, matter of fact, it was even before that when I was playtesting, setting it up to stream. Okay, I'm in my bag of holding. Okay. All of a sudden, my character stopped walking. I was crouched. I'm like, what? I'm stuck. I can't move. So I stop crouching and stand up, and then I can walk. I can move. I'm like, what? So while I'm walking, I crouch while still walking, and I continued to move in a crouch. I stopped walking while I was crouching, then tried to continue to walk, and I couldn't. And that repeated. It kept doing that. And I looked and I was overweighted. I'm like, yeah, well, okay, makes sense. But this isn't one of those games where when you get over encumbered, you can't walk at all. Some games, when you get overweighted, you stop dead in your tracks. That's it. So this game sometimes does that to me and sometimes doesn't. Does your wife play video? Oh, no. Hell no. Never held a controller in her hand. Well, that's not true. I had her We got another computer in an office in another room, and that is too bad. Yeah, it's something we could share because it's one of my main hobbies. It's something I don't mind spending a lot of money on. They say don't cheat yourself when it comes to your hobby. I mean, if that's what you enjoy in life, don't be cheap to yourself. I mean, everybody's got their own budget and limitations. Some guys like old race cars. Some people like to go watch classic rock like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, so they'll spend hundreds of dollars for tickets. And that's their thing. That's what you spend your money on. That's what you do. So this is what I like to do. So I don't mind spending money on. But it's too bad we can't share the experience. I can't get anybody around here. I can't get any friends to do multiplayer. No one in the family. You guys either, huh? It's like, I get it that people my age didn't. We had video games when we were young, but they've come a long way. I don't know, did they just grow out of them? Did they never get into them when they were young? I didn't when I was young. I didn't play my first video game until I was 45. For the most part. I played a couple times when I was young. I never got into it. Never sat there for hours. Hey, had an Atari. I had a video system. I don't know what it was. It was cassette. It was serial access. It wasn't random access. It was serial. I mean, you had to roll through that tape back and forth to get to the spots where it had the data that you needed to play the game. Probably a Atari. They were hugely popular. I have no idea what this thing was. My brother-in-law gave it to us back in '84. A Commodore. I have no idea what it was. No idea. It had things like Space Invaders. The arcade games of the time. Space Invaders, Command something or other, Centipede, Pac-Man. But my brother, he would play that thing constantly. Ooh. Are you sleeping? This is when I don't mind pock-picketing, just for a little practice. I'll pock-picket a sleeping bandit. Do they catch? Sometimes they do. First console I ever bought. PlayStation 2. And it was Ace Combat 2. And I played the crap out of that. Loved it. I got really good at it. I bought that stuff for my kids. And then I didn't buy the PS3. But then I put it down. But then about 7 years ago, I was semi-retired. I was still working, but not trying to make top dollar. I got out of construction. I was maintaining pools, servicing pools, just some income. You know, I'd work from 6 in the morning to noon. And by then, I wasn't a poor young man anymore. I could afford to do what I wanted to do. And I interviewed with my nephew. That sounds about the time we got into these. Funny how things work out. I talked because I was playing D&D. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I was playing D&D. I was a DM, dungeon master, and I just wanted to play. And nobody that I was playing D&D with could dungeon master well, to make it fun. And I decided if I wanted to play D&D, I could do it through video games. Because that's what tabletop D&D is. It's the logic program behind the coding of a video game. Natural progression, right? Yeah, exactly. The only difference is, well, the major difference is, in D&D, there are no limitations. A good dungeon master can create on the fly and can account for any possible choice, where a video game is limited by the programming, by the code, by the engine. How much information can an engine manipulate? That's why I jumped onto the computer. The guys were playing D&D. Us girls got into the computer. Had a couple girls play, but they were girlfriends, and they really weren't there for the game. They were there to keep tabs on their boy. And it took away from the game. It didn't work. At the time, I had a girlfriend try it, and it wasn't even a half-hearted attempt. It didn't work. Again, I don't think she was interested in the game. I think she was more interested in, what's this guy into? What is this? I need to find out what he's into. That didn't last. My lordy, that was late 70s, early 80s. Well, that was probably as late as 92, that particular instance. But yeah, we were doing D&D back in the 80s. In my basement, around the ping pong table with a 10-foot piece of plywood on it. 6, 8 guys sitting around playing D&D. $12 at a time on weekends. Day after day, oh, we played the shit out of it. Edition 1, Edition 2. Oh my god, for probably about 10 years. 84 to 92, 94, on and off. Depended on my work. Sometimes I'd have some work that just couldn't spare any time. Yeah, the good old days. Gary Gygax. D&D Edition 1 and 2. Before the Wizards of the Coast and Edition 3, 4, and 5 and Pathfinder and some dinosaur game. Well, I've got a dinosaur game, Ark Survival, where you can tame dinosaurs. But I tried it. I found it to be very difficult. And once I found out that it was a server and other people could come by and steal my shit. Oh, in the 2000s? I don't know what. I bought that early access really cheap, but I don't remember when. It was far later than 2000 because I didn't buy this computer until 7 years ago, and that's the year I bought a lot of these games that I have now. City, Skylines. Oh. We're here. I never got into WoW. Yeah, that was an old DOS RAM computer. It took diskettes to... Yeah, I can remember loading Windows 3.11 on, what is it, 3-inch floppies. They were hard disks. But there was like 10 of them. Well, where's can I... Will that work? How about you, girlfriend? You gonna do something? You just watch my back? That works. Well, he just killed the lead dude. Uh-oh. Oh, I just killed my own... Whoa. Where'd that come from? Oh, that's her. Okay. That was confusing. I made a Hungman game and saved them to those 5-inch diskettes. I started to make, because that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, I want to make my own video game. Because I knew, from being a DM, I had the logic. I could write a most intense video game that would self-learn and change its code while it was playing. But I didn't understand enough about the compilers / game engines, their limitations. So what I had in my mind, there's no computer that could do that. There still isn't one today that can do that. I found out my computer couldn't even generate random numbers. I know that sounds funny, but listen to this. So, because I'm making tables, monster tables, I figure, okay, let's just start with generating some random encounters. So I got all kinds of tables I got all entered and ready to put into a program, and I say, okay, generate a random number, and that'll be the encounter. I'm like, okay. Then I say, now, generate another random number. It tells me the same number it just generated. I'm like, what? Do that again. It gives me the same number, it gives me the same number. I say, okay, generate me two random numbers. It gives me the same first number and a new second number. Uh-oh, I see a pattern here. Generate me two random numbers. It tells me the two numbers all over again. Oh boy. Generate me a third random number. It generates a new random number. So the first random number was never going to change. So I'm like, well, you already screwed me. You already screwed me. I can see where this is going. So I'm like, okay, let's generate 1,000 random numbers. So now the numbers are scrolling across the screen, and I just hit the stop button. Okay, I just generated a random number. And I gave up on that project. The Japanese are doing some neat stuff. Well, I haven't seen it come out yet, but I heard about (3D) memory storage. Someone had to program those random numbers, so how random were they? Well, I had the discussion with my brother-in-law. Like I said, he's always the director of IT wherever he works, and right now he's doing experimental stuff he can't even talk about in the industry because it's cutting edge. I could only guess they're dealing with speed and broadband and cold temperatures to achieve high speeds and whatnot. That's just me guessing because he won't tell me. But he told me you can't really generate a random number with a computer. The only way you can kind of imitate it is to use white noise and pull a pixel off a screen or something like that, off of a white noise background, and use that. Fiber sounds like the next huge thing. Well, fiber gives you broadband. 3D memory storage. You know, right now all our memory is stored in 2 dimensions. So 3D is a geometric progression, you know, squared, dimension squared instead of times 2. So you can get an awful lot of information in a very small space. But you still need a game engine that won't choke on all that data. It's a hardware-software match that has to be compatible. I watch all the new games coming out. I'm not seeing anything with a large increase in requirements. I don't think there's a game out there that this 7-year-old computer won't play. I was saying something about Red Dead Redemption, or Dead Red Redemption, whichever it is. I meet the requirements, the minimum requirements, but they'd rather see me have slightly more something or other. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. The thing I don't get is glass is not exactly something we want to digest. Fiber optics is glass and buried in the ground. Groundwater is in the ground. Well, the good thing about glass, it's inert. It doesn't dissolve in water. So if there's very fine particles in the ground that end up in the groundwater that get pulled into your well, you can filter it out. There's that. So I got to get down a level, don't I? Now, if I let that tiger go to try to be a nice guy, because that's what I try to do, be a nice guy, it's just going to try to attack me until I kill it. However, animals don't filter water. We eat animals, haha. Yeah. Well, that is what I wonder about. Well, how about this? Glass is made out of silicon, melted sand. So glass is made out of melted sand. Sand with impurities missing. It's mostly silicon. And Silicon Valley, yeah, that's what they make a lot of that stuff out of. What they write their memories on. Silicon. The CPUs, etched silicon. So glass is made out of sand. Silicon is the #1 substance that the planet is made out of. Silicon. Sand. All our beaches. You know, topsoil is a very small amount of the ground we walk on. Once you get past all that broken down organic material that makes up topsoil, it's mostly silicon. It's not in our water. I get it in my water filter. Sometimes it's in the form of granite dust, because a lot of the rock around me is granite. Oh, I knew that. I knew I was missing it. There we go. There's the journal. I've long suspected the dark water snake is my older brother, Herzog. The fact that he would take on that moniker made it all the more obvious. It may be that same poison that ran in grandfather's blood is what made him betray us. Are we doomed to repeat the mistake of our ancestors? Sometimes I wonder. That is what is going on here where we live. Facebook wants to put fiber optics in. Miles and miles of it in farmland. I don't know if it poses a health hazard. I don't know. Everything I've been saying isn't to excuse it. It's just those are the scientific facts as I was taught them. I've learned not to believe anything I've been taught. How much of it is not true? Probably most of the history I've been taught isn't true. There's a lot of stuff in our educational system that is not true, but it's taught anyway. That's a pretty big ball of wax right there. Well, I'm just gonna, oh, wait, I know there's a back door to this thing. That's how I get down there. And I'm overweighted again. I just want the fast internet speed. Well, you know, I think my internet speed is supposed to be 30 down and 15 up, or somewhere's in that neighborhood. I don't need 200 down. Oh wow, is that a lot? I think fiber will give you 200 down. Who needs 200 down? I don't need that. And as far as streaming, you can stream with 5 up. I've seen guys stream with 3 up. It's not that good at 3, but 5 is plenty. Of course, now if you're trying to stream 8K at, well, right now 60 frames is the max. You have 1,000 down and 20 up, then you must be on fiber. And you know, instead of 30, maybe it's 60 down. But you know, that's within the same same ballpark. Let's check with Google. I've got a internet tester I use once in a while. I think mine's was forked. I was measuring it 12 to 14 up. And so the down was probably somewhere around 60. I'm dropping this stuff. Damn it. I'm supposed to be putting it in the bag of holding. This isn't the first day I've done this repeatedly. Google, and we all know that is not the best, but 812 and 20, that's what you got. Are you on fiber? I'm on a coax. You're not on fiber. Well, you heard me complain about my internet provider being potato over here, my Twitch cutting out. I'm either getting throttled out or I don't know what's happening. I'll be watching YouTube and all of a sudden it'll be buffering, and I look in my taskbar and I'll see the internet connection has failed, and once the buffer runs out, bink, no connection. Rarely, if I reset my router, will that fix it. A lot of times I just have to wait. And here's the kicker. I'll turn on my cable vision and my TV will be working. I can watch HBO. We don't have HBO, but I can watch cable vision. But my computer has no connection. I've watched a lot of guys that live way out in the boondocks, out in the sticks, they're on the grid, but they're way out. They're way out there, northern Canada, other places. They lose service a lot. And not because there's a power outage or a branch fell on a wire. It's just the infrastructure isn't beefy enough to handle the load. The way it was explained to me was all this infrastructure was put in place for people to watch Cablevision. They never conceived of the internet boom where a gazillion people were going to be watching gazumba bytes worth of YouTube per second. The infrastructure wasn't built for it. And that's why I was here, to get this. The internet companies, it's a business. It's all about money. How much money can we make, and how little money can we spend on infrastructure? How cheap can we get away with this? They have no incentive to make it any better. People are paying their bills. They're not dropping the service. But is fiber optic glass? Is it truly silicon? Is it glass? Because it bends. It bends. Glass doesn't bend. So is it plastic? Is it some kind of special? It is fine glass. Well, what's the diameter of one fiber? I wonder. I'll have to do a little bit of research. I love this kind of stuff. I'd be very interested to know how thick is one fiber, how many fibers are in a bundle. Is it truly pure silicon, or is it a material science where it's a compound of glass and plastic? Oh gosh, it is smaller than your hair. Okay, well, your hair is about 3/1000ths of an inch, 3, 4-ish, depending if you got fine hair or coarse hair. That's the realm. Thinner than a hair. I can see how a solid material of that thin dimension could bend. What I hear everybody worried about, I've never heard anybody worried about fiber optics ruining farmland and water table. What I'm hearing about is the 5G towers and the radiation that they put off. It's a electromagnetic frequency of a certain length. And people are afraid of getting brain tumors and cancer and stuff like that from that. I hear a lot of scary talk about that. I've read up on it, and they make it sound like, no, that's not a thing. But that's what they would say anyway. So I don't know what the truth is. They make a really good explanation for why it's safe. I'm smart enough to know to be careful what I believe. Oh yeah, right. Which Japan will not allow. Won't allow it around the airports. Well, that's probably not because of human safety directly. They're probably more worried about it affecting the electronics of the planes. They don't want to knock a plane out of the air because of an interference, just because it messes with their instruments. Yeah, yeah. But you know, it's a wavelength thing, and I'm not a master at it. I'm more than a layman. It's all about wavelength. You know, amplitude modulation and frequency modulation, AM and FM, and signal strength. You know, 50,000 watts of power or 5 watts of power. Those three variables. I don't. I don't know enough about it to know why they'd be afraid. Why does it mess with their instruments? Just think of it this way. I got a cable. I got a cable opener, a garage door opener that's on a frequency. It opens my door. It doesn't open all the other doors in the neighborhood, and theirs don't open mine. Um, your 900 megahertz range cordless telephones. When you pick up your phone, you don't pick up your neighbor's conversation. It's on a slightly different wavelength. Technology is progressing so fast, companies are having a hard time keeping up. We used to. Well, they're probably trying to find uses for it. Yeah, yeah. I can see how that could be a thing. We would hear the neighbors' conversations. It was, oh. I've heard of that happening with baby monitors. Well, you know, the more I'm sitting here wrapping my mind around it, the more I'm seeing possibilities. Oh, there's a place I need to go down here. I haven't been yet. Um, let's say you take let's say you take I kid you not, when I moved into this town, I was the first to get on digital internet. I've got a brother-in-law who's like that out west. He's a tech nerd. I don't know if that's quite the right word. Like a lot of guys, they want the newest and the best. He was the first one to get DSL. He's always getting the newest tech. He's always buying the newest tech. I, on the other hand, stay away from it. I want somebody else to be the guinea pig. This is how I came up. No, this is not. This is not how I came up. Oh, there's a person. Go get them, Blue Boy. They're over here. That's the one thing I don't like about these summoned creatures. They don't know where to go. I like playing with new gadgets. I don't mind playing with them. I don't like paying for them. Not when they're new. I like somebody else to buy them when they're new. Find out what's wrong with them. Let the companies fix them. And I'll buy the 2.0.
Huh?
But if it's pricey enough, I need to justify the cost. Do I need a $1,000 cell phone? No, I don't. my brother-in-law would buy the most expensive one that they make, just because. Check out the Raspberry Pi someday. That is a fun toy. Raspberry Pi. Pi spelled as 3.14. I'm writing it down. I'll Google it later. I don't mind spending money on tools. Tools save me money. Anytime I buy a tool, it's to do a job that I don't have to pay someone else $1,000 to do. So I'll buy tools all day long. First I thought, what? A pie? Well, you didn't use an E the first time you spelled that word. You just spelled it P-I. So I was thinking of pi, the numerical constant, you know. Circumference versus diameter, 3.14, yada, yada, yada. Oh, you meant with an E? Okay. I'll add the E. Okay. Somehow I don't. I don't know if I fully did. I finished the quest here. Yeah, I had a feeling I. Is that my follower? Then what's that moving over here? That's my follower. Did she just, dimension door? I think that's what happened. She's trying to path her way over to me. I don't know if I went down in here. Or is this the way I came in? No, that's not the way I came in. Oh, I remember going through here though. And I did go in this direction. I remember walking uphill and hugging to the left and that spike in the ground. That is what confuses you about this game. Ghosts, dimensions. I went fishing down there, and this is the door I came in. Oh, I need to break tape. This time, I won't forget.